Today's guest is the owner and creator of Go Faster Stripe, a small Wales-based comedy distribution company. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Evans, not that one. How you doing, Chris?
Hello, everybody. I'm fine.
How do you feel about the not that one being added to your...
I don't mind, and I think it's shifted what it means, because I used to be specifically not the radio DJ chap, and now I'm not the handsome American actor. I think that's the way it's changed. For a while I was not that one or that one, but now it's gone back to just not that one. I don't mind. Richard makes these has a series of characters that appear slightly off stage when he's doing his podcast. You know, George and Craig and King, who are real. So we've all got little nicknames and little things that we do. So I don't mind at all.
And for those who don't know, what is Go Faster Stripe? How do you describe Go Faster Stripe?
I don't know. It's a hobby that's gone out of control, is what it is. It was I wanted to not to be around when my kids were growing up.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to have a proper job, and I thought, what can I do that I can do from home when the kids are asleep? And that was computer programming for websites. And once I'd got that, and I tried to do and then we made some baby grows, because I thought you can't get baby grows that I like. So we made some lovely printed baby grows. Everyone else disagreed. No one bought them. We got these printed up and they were great. And so I needed to make a website to sell them. And I thought, imagine if these sell. This would be much easier than computer programming, but they didn't. Then it's just chance and luck, really, that everything's in place. I've always liked comedy. I'd seen Stuart Lee's show, 90s comedian, maybe a year before, wrote to him and said, that's it. And I said, would you, he wrote on his blog or on his website or something that he wasn't going to be able to release it because no one was interested. And I thought, oh, that's a shame. And one of the jobs I was doing was working in the arts centre across the road from where I still live, looking after their computers, like getting Skype to work and just to work and so on. We had a bit of a Skype problem earlier. And there's a theatre there. And as I was walking through the theatre, it's quite a small theatre, but it's well proportioned, and you've got lovely lights in it, and the sound in it is great. So I wrote to Stu and I said, well, I can record it in where I work, in the arts centre where I work, if you like. And he said, all right, we'll have a crack at it. And I think he just wanted a recording of it, not something that would then get released. But my mind was going, bloody hell, imagine this. Imagine if we could release this. So we hired in quite good cameras, and we filmed it with some pals of mine. I happen to have some pals that are cameramen.
Yeah.
So I said, you fancy coming and doing this as a bit of fun, as like a night out, not for any financial reward or anything. So God love them, the two of them came, and a friend of mine was a sound recordist. So we all kind of just had a little bit of a hobby thing, and I get to meet Stu, right? Because I've always liked his work. So got to hang out with Stu for a day. I got to see the show twice, because we filmed it twice for the recording. And then we edited it together. Craig's, I think, girlfriend then, but wife now, Claire, is a film editor. So she said, well, give us the tapes and I'll stick it together. So she did this amazing job of putting it together, because it was a bit ramshackle, the filming, because we didn't know what we were doing. But she put it together, and then we met up with Stu. So I thought, brilliant, we get to see Stu again. We all went to Craig's house in London, the four of us, and we sat and watched it. And at the end of it, he said, well, I've got a little bit of notes, but let's release it. Brilliant. So then came back to Cardiff and prepared for battle, and I got the Baby Grow selling website and just repurposed it to be a DVD selling website. Found a place in London, Key Production in London, who take raw footage that you give them and make it into a DVD and help you every step of the way to make sure it sounds and looks professional. So they were great in helping a duffer like me do it. Invested in you've got to buy 1,000 of them, which I thought was ridiculous. I'm never going to sell 1,000 of these. But got those, made them in those little packets, because that means that no one has to store them. There's not like a storage issue.
Yes.
Postage is cheaper. So we made these in these little packets, and people started buying them. And as people were buying them in greater numbers, so my work as a computer programmer was dipping down, and I didn't miss a bill, I didn't miss a mortgage payment. Then Go Faster Stripe kind of took over the slack.
Oh, wait. So it's like almost like mixing a record or something. There was no
exactly. Yeah. And that meant that Well, and it was I remember I paid to go to Edinburgh on the proceeds of Go Faster Stripe's first year, and I thought, this is incredible. This is a brilliant hobby, and now I'm in Edinburgh for free. Fucking. And I spoke to Richard Herring at the bar, and he said, "What's your goal?" And I said, "Well, if I could do this full time, can you imagine?" That was again like a distant winning the lottery style dream, and because this thing happened, that is what I do now. I now do this full time.
Wow.
Which is thinking about it, it's ridiculous, isn't it? I'm surprised myself.
But it's sometimes it works out there, doesn't it? You know, you chance your arm, you take a risk, and like say if you were calling in friends, and so it's, you know, it's not like it was putting you majorly out of pocket in the first place. But
that's true.
Look what's grown out of it, you know.
And also we can't discount blind luck.
Yeah.
There was just so much blind luck happened at each step, and that I was, you know, in a place where I could do it, as you say, without any financial outlay really. We sold tickets to that first gig, and I think I paid everyone something like 80 quid. It's just I divided the amount of money that was left, and everyone that helped in it got 80 quid for being there. So like my pals go, "What? Brilliant night out, and we've got 80 quid." I pay them properly now, but that was so we ended up with nothing at the end of the night, which is this thing that I try and keep on doing when I film nowadays as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, be lucky. That's my my advice.
Work hard at being lucky.
Well, just being lucky, really.
And so after the one with Stu and that being successful, did you start approaching comedians, or did other comedians start approaching you? How did it grow from
again? It was organic. Where I said that we went to look at the show in Craig and Claire's house in London. When we finished watching it, we all went for a pint in just the local, the closest pub to their house. And Stu said, "Oh, you should get in touch with Richard Herring." I said, "Oh, I don't even know how I would even go about that." And he said, "Well, I'll give you his number." So then I spoke to Richard and I said, "Oh, you don't know me, but I've done this thing." I sent a disc to him and said, "Should we do that?" And he just went, "Yeah, absolutely." So, you know, I suppose Stu saying, or if the instruction from Stu is what you needed.
Yes.
And then Rich had some tapes of a show that someone else had filmed but not quite got round to releasing. So we put that one out as our second one. And then our third one was Richard came to Chapter Arts, where I filmed Stu, and we filmed his show, Someone Like Jogger. Have you got everything?
I was going to say Alex Minaj and was my guess, but no.
That was the second one we filmed with Rich.
I've got the stack next to me just to...
look at all them. Yeah. Life wasted.
Because I feel like marketing-wise for you, it's got to be quite easy once someone finds one of your DVDs. Especially now you've got such a big back catalogue.
It's a lot, yeah.
That it's like, oh, well, I really like this comedian, and then go to the website and see you've got 30 other comedians of a similar, you know, stature.
Well, it's all people I like.
Yeah.
The first, this is one of the Edinburgh that I paid for, but before the Stu's DVD came out, I had some, what do you call it when you copy? DVD-Rs of it. Yeah. So it was finished, but it wasn't manufactured yet. And I made some covers just by printing them out and cutting them out. And I had 10 of them, and I gave them to acts in Edinburgh that I liked. Because do you ever go to the Edinburgh Festival?
I've been a couple of times, yeah.
So you often see people wandering around, you know, getting from gig to gig or something. And I remember seeing Andy Zaltzman. Whoa, brilliant, because his hair makes him stand out. And I ran up and I said, "Here, this is a DVD for you." And he went, "All right, thanks very much." And then I kind of left without saying why I was giving it to him or what it was about. I've met him since, but years later, like ages afterwards, I said, "Well, I bet you were the first person I asked. The first person I actually went to and asked was you," but I didn't. Yeah, I just gave him that and ran off. That's a good way of getting. And then John Hegley, I remember giving. I couldn't find John Hegley, but I put one in his pigeonhole. Everyone that does a show has got their own pigeonhole there, so I left it for him there. And again, years later, he said, "Oh yeah, I got that," and I've kept it. So it must have meant something. And eventually, we managed to film John Hegley from doing that. So I do approach people as well as sometimes it's organic. It doesn't really. I don't really have any rules.
But the criteria just being someone you like.
Yeah. Well, it's someone I'd like to spend time with. So if you get people there's a thing I think that if you like somebody's humour, then you probably are on a similar wavelength to them. You're probably
Yes.
getting on with them if you meet them in real life. And I don't think it counts for any other art form. I don't think it counts for painters or musicians or anyone else. Sculptors, you could really not get on with a painter but love their work, I think. But I don't think you can love the work of a comedian unless, politically you're probably aligned, morally you're probably aligned, and you've probably had a similar life maybe, or made life choices to get. I don't know how humour works, but I'm thinking it's something like that. But and it turns out that everyone that I like as a comedian that I've gone on to meet have been lovely.
Yeah.
So part of it is I don't want to spend my time with arseholes. And that is based on the fact that if I like someone's jokes, then they're probably a decent person. And then we get to have and then the recording of a decent person as well as the fun spending the time with them. So that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, it's a similar thing with what I'm doing with these. Really, it's like, it's great. It's great to have these little interviews, but it's also nice just to chat to somebody that you admire or that you find interesting. And
so, what's this one? Or if you've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, on a Friday morning, it's just.
It's quiet. It's There's no one else here. The postman might come in. This will be the annoying chat that I have with the people in the post office now, because if I don't get to talk to anyone for a while.
Okay, yeah.
About how's your kids?
Do you ever get asked in the post office what you're sending all the time?
Yeah, they have to ask now for security.
Of course, yeah.
And actually, things are going. People aren't buying as much physical stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So, and with the virus knocking about at the minute, I used to go to the post office every day, but since this has hit, I've only been going once a week. And I've got 2 bags of stuff to take them, but it's much less than it used to be over a week.
Yeah.
So they do, and it's varied stuff. It was supposed to be that style of disc, the small disc that was easy to post, but now there's books and all sorts and T-shirts, and so now there's kind of more or bigger stuff that I have to take down there, which I'm very happy to do, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah. I used to work for a record label, doing their merchandise and stuff.
Oh, right. Okay.
And you'd have some people in the post office who just didn't care. You were just a burden with a big pile of packages to them. And then there was other people that's like, oh, what's it? Is this a vinyl? What's this? So it really captures some people's imagination.
That's true. Well, there's a thing about physically, somebody's ordered something and then I physically fold it up and send it off. I very much like that. A few companies have said, why don't we take all your stock and then we can send it automatically and you don't have to do it. I have thought about it, but I think the joy of it is getting into that thing. Oh, look, I've sold 10 copies of this DVD and I'm putting them in the sleeves and sending them off to people. I like that quite a lot.
Yeah, they're just the old school mentality of a physical object. Because I'm very much like that, and I'm guessing you are as well. You seem to put a lot of effort into the actual DVDs and stuff themselves. Is that like a conscious thing that you want to give people value for money?
Oh yeah. Well, do you remember just like doing a mixtape?
Yeah.
I mean, that's I can't do those anymore. So the focus has changed onto making these DVDs, and I used to try and stuff them with things that you wouldn't get to maybe the 3rd or 4th hearing, like little bits in between the songs.
Yeah.
And absolutely use every second that was available to you on the C90, and also colour in the sleeves, so making it as good as I possibly can. You're only making one, giving it to somebody, I'll never see that again.
Yeah.
So that I quite like that process as well. So yeah, for the DVDs, there's not always, but there's almost always extras falling out of it. It's they're stuffed to the gills, or they're stuffed as big as I can.
Little I like looking for the little hidden things where you'll put like a full stop in a sentence. The full stop will be interactive, and
we do have Easter eggs on. I think everything has got an Easter egg, because I love when I found out that they exist. I thought, well, I'm definitely having those. So pretty much everything we've done has had an Easter egg. And do you know there's a little clue on the disc labels?
On the inside of the...
Yeah, it's supposed to be an enigmatic comment of some sort that will give you a clue about where to look.
There you go. On the Robin Ince is as dumb as you. To see the Easter eggs, click the Easter eggs.
So that was a reaction against hiding things. Let's make it ridiculous and very much in the menu. But a lot of them are harder to find than that.
Yes.
The Menage à Un one is very difficult. I think you've got to do 3 stages before you get to it.
Yeah, and different menus, isn't it?
Yeah. I remember, and I thought, well, that never's good. And I brought it back a little bit after that. I thought, let's not do that. But yeah, it's stuffing them as full as I can. We have just agreed to make a VHS video.
Oh, wow.
Rob Kemp for his show, The Elvis Dead. We were just yesterday, we decided that it should come out as a VHS, really. So that I can't wait to do that.
Yeah.
I've not done a VHS before.
It's strange that that seems to be in fashion almost at the minute, of going, like vinyl was very popular, but just recently I've seen lots of artists releasing cassettes again. It seems that albums are coming out on cassette, and it's like, well, who's even got a cassette player to listen to most of these?
I've still got a VHS player plugged into the TV, so it's not going to be any effort to do the master of this. I don't know why it's happening. Maybe, I don't know. They're beautiful things. My son is 12 and he asked for a cassette player for his birthday.
Oh, that's brilliant. Just
last week. So he plays a computer game that in it you collect sounds which are cassettes. So what are these incredible objects? So they're tapes, mate. I've got thousands of them. And so they released the soundtrack album on cassette.
Yeah.
And then he needed a Walkman style device to play it on. So that's what he got for his birthday. So these are great. And there's actually, cassettes have got some advantages over all the digital ones, that you can start playing a cassette and stop it, take that tape to another player, and it carries on where it left off.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
That's great, isn't it?
You haven't got to skim through to try and find where you were.
Exactly. I mean, that's pretty much it. Advantage as well. But I think that's strong, isn't it? Or recording something. You record something and stop it.
Yeah.
What, you can record onto these? That's what it sounds like. Yeah, you can, yeah.
You're going to blow his mind and say that, like, tell him that video games used to come on cassettes. Like...
I've got Jet Set Willie knocking about somewhere. All right. That's what I'll do. That's our afternoon sorted. Thank you.
And then, obviously, you said earlier that people are buying less physical media.
Yeah.
So now you've moved. Well, I say now, it's over a year ago, but you've moved to doing a sort of Netflix style streaming service.
Yes. So we changed to have downloads, and I remember thinking, oh, this will be a flash in the pan. We will have downloads, but the main thing is the DVD, and those things, right? That's Swift. Swift. What's the word I'm looking for? Transitioned. All right. It's transitioned into being mostly digital now. So that I try and put the same amount of effort into the digital release as I would have done into the DVD release, and some things don't even have a DVD release anymore. So that was around for a while. Now you could download the shows, then you can. And I thought, well, maybe no one's going to download in more than 720p. You know, the aspect ratio, the amount of pixels you've got. Yeah. That's as HD as it can possibly get. But because we film in 1080p. Then I've had to go back and redo a lot of them to make them in 1080p. So that's an option. So you can download them and keep them, but you can also stream them. So that was there for a while. And then, about a year and a bit ago, and I'm still struggling. I thought, what am I going to do? And then I thought, well, let's have a club. And I understand you're very welcome to be a member. There's lots of advantages. So the idea with that was that if I can get enough people to give, there's a thing that when we started, John Hegley had told Stuart Lee that if you get something like 5,000 people in the country that like you, that will give you £5 a year, you're sorted. That's your life sorted. So very much with that mentality, I thought, well, if I can, obviously I don't have anything like 5,000 members of the club, but if I can get 5,000 members of the club to give me £5 a year, I can keep on doing this. I can afford to film people. I can afford to do like stupid things.
Yeah. It's
getting windier, isn't it? Hope you can hear all that.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's try that. Let's see if anyone would be interested. And like a few hundred people are interested and have been interested. So the idea there is that you subscribe and then you get everything that I do.
Yeah.
Which at the moment is streaming shows. We're doing a lot of streaming shows. But anything that I release automatically goes to you guys. If we're doing any recordings, you get free tickets to those. It's like you're my preferred people, so that because you're into what I'm doing, then I can and you're financially supporting me, then everything goes to you. And then we did this lockdown, when there's not so many shows coming out, I thought, well, I'll get the T-shirt made, because I've always wanted to have a club T-shirt. So we're both, they're really fashionable. Everybody's wearing these now. So so I sent out a T-shirt to everyone. Once you're a member for a year, then you get like this little members pack with a T-shirt in it and some other bits and bobs.
Yeah, so I've got a pencil and some badges and stuff up on the shelf.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And there's a sticker and a moustache.
Yeah.
So that's part of. So that's the same thing as stuffing a cassette as full as I can. Once I'm sending you a T-shirt, why not send you some stickers and a badge and a thing, and that makes it like a lucky bag.
Yeah, it was like a treat when it arrived.
Yeah, and I didn't like to. I told everyone it was a T-shirt because I need to know what size they were, but I didn't want to tell anyone what the other bits and bobs were because I wanted it to be a surprise. Because you don't get surprises these days. When I don't think, as a grown-up, I'm not surprised by anything. And
it's very rare to get post.
Yeah, well, actually, it's rare to get a nice surprise.
Yeah. And then obviously you were doing Go Faster Stripe, which is the sort of individual stand-up shows of different comedians. But
yes.
And then you started doing RHLSTP, or Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast.
Yes.
And so is that a co-production between you and Richard, or is that like a Go Faster Stripe?
No, well, it's a co-production. I have two companies. I have a company, Go Faster Stripe, which does, as you say, the stand shows, and then me and Rich own Sky Potato.
Oh, okay.
And we that is there just to service Rich's crazy internet ideas. So that started because Go Faster Stripe filmed a RHLSTP for a DVD extra. That is a train going past. I don't even live that close to the train station. Okay, so it started. He'd started doing RHLSTP. We'd already filmed a few of his podcasts as extras for some of his DVDs.
Yeah.
And then it moved to the theatre, and we filmed one show in the first series. Back when they used to have one guest per night, and maybe the full run would be like 4 or 5 shows or something. So we filmed him talking to Stu for the Fist of Fun DVD, and that looked great. So then he said, "What could we film every week?" And bloody hell, can we film something every week? So we looked into it, and then we said, "Well, if we do 2 podcasts a night, then it kind of becomes cost effective."
Yeah.
And then we tried to charge for people to watch the video, so we could pay for the extra. It's much more expensive to make a video than it is to make an audio recording, as it turns out. And that was all right. That broke even, but only really because Stephen Fry was on it and made the news with his podcast. So we sold loads and loads this one day, but if that hadn't have happened, it would have been a financial disaster. Then for the next series, is this boring?
No.
Then for the next series, I said to Rich, let's just give them away for free, but then say if you want to, you can put money in the bucket at the end, like the free Fringe in Edinburgh does. And that was I'm going to say I'm a genius there if I say that was the work of genius, but that was the magic ingredient that it needed. So then people could watch it for free, but if you could afford to, we had a similar first, before the Go Faster Stripe Club, there was the Badger system, where you can pay a certain amount a month from, it used to be starting at £1, but now we start at £3. But you can pay whatever you like. And you get a little membership pack, like the Dennis the Menace fan club, with badges and a membership card and a wallet. And then that goes towards the cost of filming the podcast. And that works great. That just about pays for itself.
Yeah.
So we can pay everyone a decent wage that's operating the cameras. We could afford to hire them in. We've bought some cameras now, but at the time we were hiring them in and using them and then sending them back each day. And then Rich took the show on tour, so we were able to film, not all, but most of the shows on tour we were able to film. And we also support, what else has he done? He did that, he did a show called The Meaning of Life.
Yeah.
Which was in the Leicester Square Theatre, like a scripted show where there's a different bit of stand-up each week and then an interview section at the end. And then he did As It Occurs to Me. We did a video version of As It Occurs to Me, which had a live element. Well, I thought it was amazing. I love As It Occurs to Me.
Yeah. And
it was brilliant to see it live on stage and to hang out with the crew. Not with the crew, to hang out with the actors.
Yeah.
It was great. So that was a live show, but with inserts. But that was more, I don't know, it was a bit like That's Life. I think it was brilliant. Not enough people watched it. That's why I'm going on about it. It's really good. We did 6 episodes of that. And then we were just coming in to film this year. We were just coming in to film the next series of RHLSTP in London. We were trying to innovate a little bit there by having live shows. We were going to have one of that series was going to be live.
Oh, okay.
So this virus business kind of, even though, all right, no one could have predicted it at all, we were already thinking about doing live stuff. So the kind of our mindset was thinking, this is the gear that we need. Do you know a fella called Rob Sedgebeer? He's a genius of a man. He looked after and still looks after Rich's website, but also works with Steve McNeil on Go 8-Bit shows. Okay. He's a genius of a man and a lovely chap. So he spoke to me on the phone for about an hour and told me everything. And I've remembered about half of it. You know, what to buy, what to do, how to set things up. I went to Rich's house and set up a camera system in his house so he was able to live broadcast his snooker playing from there. And then once the lockdown kicked in, it was kind of a simple job to transition that into online versions of RHLSTP.
Yeah.
It's genuinely, it's whatever Rich comes up with, and I kind of technically support that.
Yeah.
It's a really fun thing when he comes up with one of his ideas.
So yeah, you just point cameras at Richard when he's
that's my job, really.
Being Richard.
Yeah, so that's great, and that's what I'm, you know, day to day now in this lockdown. That's more or less what I'm doing, is supporting him or doing live streams with the likes of Mark Thomas or Norman Lovett or Nick Helm. That's great fun as well.
Yeah, they've been really good. The little, you know, doing the Q&As and watching the shows along. They've been, because obviously as a club member, I get free invites to those. So
happy to have you. Thank you for coming.
And so you mentioned the virus. Like, how happy were you and Richard that you managed to get Michael Palin as a guest before the lockdown?
Now, on the day we filmed it, the virus was knocking about and it was getting, what's going to happen? And Michael is a beautiful but older man, which, I mean, we still don't know much about it, do we? But then we did know that older people were more susceptible. You know, we lost Tim Brooke-Taylor, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, that is an incredible shock. So I mean, not at the time. So we were all there, and we think, well, it's fine. I think it's fine because nothing like this has ever happened. I wonder if it was fine, but no one got ill from that night. So okay, it probably was fine. So in the morning, Rich said that he had a call from Michael's agent, which never happens. You know, once you've booked someone, you've booked someone.
Yeah.
And if you get a phone call just before, it's always something bad. But it wasn't bad. It was we were just organising a car to collect him from his house and drop him off just outside the theatre. So that was being organised. So then we all got there, and he's going, "Oh, it's still happening." Until he turned up, I didn't believe it.
No,
because it's, you know, he's everyone's hero, isn't he, Michael Palin?
I think so. Anyone that likes comedy, certainly.
Yeah. He's been at the forefront of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. You expect him to be nice.
Yeah.
But he's just, your heart melts in his company. He's a lovely man, and he's hilarious. He improvised an extra bit of Life of Brian for us. It was beautiful.
Him when he was talking about the scene from Life of Brian where it's like crucifixion or freedom, and he's take a cross, and he just him acting that out on the stage I was just like, this is fantastic.
It's incredible. He wrote it and he was in it. It's like you know, it's going to be Shakespeare in the future, isn't it? I don't know. Life of Brian is the funniest thing that's ever been made, I think. Anyhow, I've met one of the people who made it, and he's so that was great. So luckily he didn't cancel, and of course every other show was cancelled.
Yeah.
In that run, so we booked in, I think 6. I can't remember exactly, and they were strong shows. I mean, that show we had Aisling B on it. I mean, that was a really strong couple of guests, and the rest of the series we had Tim Key. I remember looking forward to, that was one of the guests for the show that we didn't get to film. Hopefully, it'll all come in back in the future.
Adam and Joe together was one that I was looking forward to.
That's right, Adam and Joe together. God, that'd have been incredible, right?
Yeah. As soon as I got the email about that one, I was like, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I mean, everyone is up for doing them still. It's often there's a scheduling problem. I mean, Michael Palin, we've been trying to get for, or Richard's been trying to get for ages, and it's of course he's really busy, isn't he? Often on one of his trips that he famously does, so it's hard to get him. But this time we managed it, and his manager's lovely. He said, "Well, no, but do keep trying. If he's free, do keep trying." And on this one, he said, "On this occasion, lucky he did keep trying. He's free, booked." And he's yeah. So that was. Again, blind luck. If there's one thing you can take out of this, just be lucky. Because the following week's one wasn't cancelled until the morning of it. That's when everything started shutting down. That was the kind of week where nothing went ahead. Some things went on over the weekend, and then nothing went on after that.
There's a question that I always end my interviews with, so I'll put it your way.
That's a shame we're ending. I've enjoyed this.
Yeah, I really have as well. Thanks for doing it, Chris.
Thanks for asking.
So, there's a question I ask everyone I'm lucky enough to chat to. Some of the answers we've had so far are Ricky Gervais, Robert Smith, Steve Guttenberg from Cocoon.
I know
him. So, who is the most famous person you've sent a text message to?
Don't think I sent one to Michael Palin.
Oh.
So not him. Who is the most famous person I've sent a text message to? I've seen texts from Ricky Gervais arrive in Robin Ince's phone, but I never have.
That was Robin's answer as well, in case you couldn't guess.
God, I'm thinking of the people I've been lucky enough to meet from RHLSTP, and God, I don't text them. I email them.
I was going to say, feel free to broaden it out to email or WhatsApp or direct message.
I mean, texting. I'll tell you what happened about a week ago is that I had on my phone I get my emails and I've got I had a message from Mark Thomas, one from Richard Herring and one from Nick Helm, and they're all next to each other. And I thought to myself, imagine this. I accidentally took a screenshot of it when I was showing someone, but I've kept the screenshot. Yeah. So imagine if this was a lineup in a place those three were playing. That would be that really good gig, right? And now I know and work with those three. So I remember thinking every now and again, you think, bloody hell, this is good, isn't it? Kind of, it's reflective when I'm talking to you about it. But a couple of weeks ago when I saw that come in, I thought, crikey Moses. Yeah, pals of mine now are emailing all, and because it was all in one go, it looked like the lineup of an incredible show.
That's brilliant, yeah.
So they're all quite famous, aren't they? But the most famous...
I like that you're not willing to throw in the towel at those three. You're like, no.
Well, it's someone that I don't work with, isn't it? It'd be someone that I've texted for some. So I text Richard Osman. I was chatting with Richard Osman for a while. I'll tell you what happens when we do the RHLSTPs is that often it'll be me and Rich and the guest on a Skype call, a Zoom call. Actually, I've given away the secrets of how we work. And I get to chat to the person as Rich is going off for a cup of tea. And I had a lovely chat with Richard Osman. But again, we didn't swap fucking numbers. It's very specific, your question. I need to answer it properly.
Yeah, it is something about the text message. It's a level of intimacy that's...
It is, isn't it? It's an unexpected text message, which Stuart Lee does sometimes. He'll just send you a text message about something ridiculous. And that's kind of nice to get. I had a dream about you last night. Don't look in your cupboards. God, who? No, I was thinking of people I work with. It's joyous to get texts from any of them. I'll tell you what, there's a joy working with them. I mean, you'll have found this if you're talking to a lot of them. They're really good fun, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, even if you're having a disagreement about something, the emails are still funny. There's always like a little bit of something in there that goes, it's quite good. So I like that very much. I can't think. Can I text it to you afterwards? I'll do that. With this,
I'll edit it in later. I'll
just move my mouth. I'll tell you the most famous person.
Perfect. I'll get that sorted. I can't believe that you've texted that person, Chris. That's really amazing.
Surprise. Well, I asked to join them on tour. We're writing some songs together.
Do you want to plug Go Faster Stripe and the club?
Oh, well.
And I'll flick through some of the DVDs so we can...
look at those lovely DVDs of. They've signed some of them. That's nice.
Ian Lee drew a beard on himself.
He drew a beard. Oh, that'd be a good one to do. That I had very little to do with. Oh, I'm very proud of that one. That one plays in a random order every time you put it in.
It's
something you can't do digitally. There's a bit of magic in that one. Tom Parry's. Oh, Will Hodge. These are great. Yeah. Good selection, man.
Thank you. Well, thank you for putting them out in the first place.
Pleasure. Oh, Munnery's brilliant. Yeah, you should. That's my plug for me. Please go and buy some of those things. We have, I think, almost all of those in stock. Oh, that was amazing, wasn't it? What a treat doing that.
So I love the.
That's the sort of thing you can't do on a non-physical thing.
Yeah.
You can mess about a little bit with the packaging, which I like doing.
And then there's some of Richard's 2 discs.
Yeah. Oh, they're good.
There you go, Luke.
They're all good. I mean, none of those are poor. I'm not embarrassed about it. You'd think by now there'd be one where I go, oh, yeah, that's not very good. But there's literally, I could watch any of those tomorrow.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for your time, Chris.
Thanks for having me. It's been lovely.
If this moment has arrived unexpectedly, did we expect to be this old?
Don't take it personally.
We used to measure first times with second hands. We used to draw up plans in love.
You have to embarrass yourself, Mark.